Hi there, I'm Linda and this is Huttons Valley Permaculture. I'm finding it takes many random little projects to build a homestead and ensure food is on my table. In today's video, I thought I'd bring you along as I complete 4 of these tasks. My list today includes inoculating one of my wood chip paths with mushroom spawn. I'm going to be making an Olla to help water my mountain pepper. My frost protection needs updating around my 2 macadamia trees. And finally, I'm going to be harvesting my beautiful cripps pink apples. Up here in my front vegetable garden, I've got lots of these wood chip paths, and it's this section here today that I'm going to inoculate. So I'm going to be removing some weeds first, getting the spawn down, and then topping it up with some new wood chips. Sometimes just using the sickle like that, I find I can disturb all the roots without disturbing too much of the soil if they're small little weeds. I'm just going to be throwing those back into the garden as some mulch, but not the grasses. These I'll make sure I clear out because those will start to grow again. Now that's my 2 metre by approximately 1 metre area of wood chip path cleared of weeds. I'll just move the wood chips to one side, get down my spawn and then put a fresh covering of wood chips over the top. Now this is my mushroom spawn that I've just bought online from Aussie Mushroom Supplies that I'll spread through this section. I'm going to do it rather thickly because I have tried inoculating my paths before and I did thin it out a bit too much and it really didn't colonise well. I did get a few mushrooms, but it hasn't lasted. So I believe if you can really thickly put it down, we'll get the fungi established, and then I should be able to use this to inoculate other areas of the garden. But I want to do it really well. So that's why I'm going to use this just in this section of the path to see if we can really get it established. I'll rinse that bag out and pour that out just so I don't waste any. And now I'll just spread it all out. I have put these mushroom spawn close to the hose so that I will kind of keep an eye on it and notice if things are drying out a bit too much. Now I'll just spread what was on top of the path back over the top and then get my new layer down. The wood chip I'm adding to the path has been sitting around for some time, and you can see that it is growing its own fungi. There's quite a lot of mycelium moving through this. So that's another reason why I want to put in my mushroom spawn fairly thickly. I'm not sure if, there's competition between these guys, but by putting it thickly, it just gives it its best chance against any of these sorts of things. Okay, that's our path inoculated. Hopefully we'll get some mushrooms growing here, but we've given it its best chance, so fingers crossed now. Next up, we're going to make our Ollas. Now, an Olla is an ancient watering device. It was traditionally a big terracotta round pot with a narrow opening that you could close off at the top, and that was buried into the ground, and it slowly seeps water into the surrounding soil as it dries out and is needed. And you can put these next to plants to help maintain the hydration. And I'm planning to put it next to my mountain peppers that you might have seen in a video recently that are very sensitive to dry conditions. So I thought I'd put in an Olla for each of those plants as an insurance policy. in case I haven't quite got to watering them. So to make the oyas, you need your terracotta pots and something to plug the bottom hole of 2 of the pots. So I've got these plastic caps that I'm just going to silicone into the bottom of the pot, and then we put this over the top. Now I do have a little cover that can sit over the top there, and I can lift that off when I need to water. So we just got to use a bit of silicone for all of this. You can see by squashing it down there, all the silicone kind of spreads out and seals that lid in. And then I'll just fill in the bottom with some more silicone. Now we've just got to stick that pot onto the top of this pot. So I'm going to be fairly generous with all of this silicone so that it sticks well. And it doesn't really matter if it's leaking out the sides or what it looks like, because it will be buried. Now I'll leave a link to a couple of good videos that tells you all about oyas in case you're interested to add one of these into the garden. These will have to sit for 24 hours before burying to give this silicone a chance to dry out and seal properly, and then we'll bury it. So it won't be finished today, but hang around to the end of the video and I'll include me installing these next to the mountain peppers. Well, they were fairly quick and easy to make and fairly cheap too. I'm all loaded up. Next on the list is getting the frost protection improved for my 2 macadamia trees. So we've got to head out to the swales. Okay, now we're almost a day too late getting out here to do this frost protection. We did have a frost overnight, which I didn't expect. I was hoping to get this done today, but I didn't expect the frost. Now this little one here, with new growth on it, was covered with its frost protection, so that's okay. But the one on the other side did get some frost, but it doesn't have the new shoots. So let's go over and have a look at that one now and see how it went. Now this morning I did race out and put this over. This was actually frozen, but I think our little tree has survived that first frost. It was very mild and it really didn't have any new shoots that could have been burnt by it. So I think we've been lucky today, but time to get this frost protection a little bit improved. A lot improved. My plan is to just redo the posts. I'm going to leave the little backboard there. The idea of that was to protect the young plant from wind and also sort of be a backboard for the heat from the sun, so it will bounce it back onto it again. And I think that's done its job well. I'm going to try and reuse this netting. And see how we go. But the little teepee structure did okay. I'm just going to put in 3 posts, and then I will be attaching some mesh to this to help keep the cows at bay as well. Okay, I think my mesh is secured. Now to get this cloth back on again and get it tied down. Now I had the cloth doubled up sort of over my tree last time, and I'm not sure if this is too thin or not as frost protection. So just to make sure, I'm just going to do another layer of this mesh, which is really just a bird netting, over the top of this, and then put that one over the top of the whole lot. And I've just made some little wire pieces to use to hold it all together. All right, I've got my little macadamia hiding in there nice and snug in its little tent. Hopefully the cows can't get in. I've doubled up the mesh on the top because the cold air does drop down, and on a frosty morning I will find that all frozen, but not my little tree. And you can see it gets plenty of light in there as well. Give it a little mulching while we're here. That post is probably no good, although I'll try and jam it in the ground. The ground's pretty soft. And once again, a little bit of cow protection. And like the other tree, I'm just going to double over the netting to make sure this all does the job. So there's my second macadamia tree hiding in its new little tent that will hopefully keep it nice and safe throughout winter. My final task of the day is to remove this netting from the apple tree and harvest these apples. My little tree has decided to poke through the netting at points, so I'm going to climb up there and see if I can trim those up so I don't wreck the netting too much as I'm removing it. Okay, that might make it easier. There we go. Some of my apples don't look so good, but then there's others that look beautiful. I have been eating quite a few of these apples already and they're really delicious. So I'll be keeping some for fresh eating and preserving some by dehydrating. So I just need to get it all off now. They're falling off really easy, which is a sign that they're certainly ripe enough. They do have this warty business on them, but I've found that it's only in the skin and hasn't affected the inside of the apple at all. So a nice basket of apples for the first season that this Cripps pink apple tree has produced. Everything's off it now and it can spread its little wings a little bit with that netting off. And there is a pile of not so great apples that I'll be sharing with the chickens, and they'll love the little bugs that are hiding inside of those. Well, I'm about to head inside and enjoy one of these beautiful apples before taking my dogs for a walk. Thanks so much for joining me while I complete 4 more tasks on the homestead. If you want to see me put in the oyas, make sure you hang to the end. Otherwise, thanks for watching and bye for now.